Are we on?
Here's a story that must be told about two ladies that are kind of old. One's the pastor, the other's not. They like to chat, cook, and pray a lot. Oh, chat, cook, and pray. Oh, chat, cook, and pray. Oh, chat, cook, and pray. Oh, chat, cook, pray. There's lots of laughter and lots of fun. Line at one. You'll never know what will happen when Lucy and Ethel are at it again. Oh, chat, cook, and pray. Oh, chat, cook, and pray. Oh, chat, cook, and pray. Oh, chat, cook, pray. Chat, cook, and pray. Oh, chat, cook, and pray. Oh, chat, cook, and pray. Oh, chat, cook, pray. Amen.
Woo! Okay, today's Chat, Cook, and Pray is brought to you by none other than the courtesy of Bethel United Church of Christ. Remember, no matter where you are on life's journey, you are always welcome here. And, you know, we're a little slower today because we're cold.
It is very cold.
So we're kind of moving at a cold pace here. And also, we're still trying to get over our disappointment that our dear Kansas City Chiefs didn't run it back. But you know what? They're strong. They'll come back even stronger. And now it gives us, again, something to look forward to next year. So we are just so happy for the season they had. And today, we are fixing, or actually Marty's fixing, a yummy, cozy recipe. Because that's what we need. Yummy and cozy. Woo! Because it is cold.
Oh,
but,
my Lord.
You know, we came in today. We didn't come in yesterday, and I'm glad we didn't drive. We worked from home, and we were, you know, we're able to do that because we can connect with each other and everything. But the roads were so bad. Today, that wasn't too bad.
It wasn't too bad. It was just so blasted cold.
It was just so cold.
Oh.
And so we're looking forward to this yummy meal to warm our little tummies up and give us some, you know, some strength to get out there. Hi, Lori. Lori's watching.
No, good.
Okay, so I'm going to go around and I'll be reading some things to you while Marty does her thing. It looks like right now she's melting some butter.
Yeah.
This is cheesy ham and broccoli casserole, and it's going to be yummy. Okay, take it away, Marty.
All right. Okay, I'm just melting the butter in the pot here. And since our space is very limited here, our resources, I'm going to just mix everything into the pot and then pour it into the baking dish.
Okay.
And like at home, you would normally mix into a big bowl and pour the sauce over all the ingredients. But
Okay.
now I'm going to dump in the onions.
And they are quite pungent.
They are.
Wow, I was
They're
standing
onions.
over there singing Chat, Cook, and Pray, and I thought I was going to sneeze.
Oh,
They are
they
strong.
Are, they're onions.
They're onions.
And then celery, 2 stalks of celery.
And of course, you've got the recipe. So if you're not sure of the amounts, look at that. Or if you didn't get the recipe and you're trying to write it down as we do it, just ask
Good
us.
luck. Actually, this is a very forgiving
Hi,
recipe.
Jan Feddick. It's good to see you. Good to see your name.
I'm just going to cook these until they're tender. And that'll take just a little bit of time here. And then I'll be throwing in the cheese, the different cheeses, and milk.
And not the potatoes and ham yet?
No, those go in at the very
So while
end.
she's letting those get a little tender, I'm going to read you some things. And these are little fun facts about 15 facts about what's happening outdoors in this time of year. Of course, we can pretty much feel it, but I'm going to give you different facts about the cold, the snow, whatever. So just bundle up because you'll feel cold just hearing some of these things. Number 1, this is a fact. It sometimes snows where you least expect it. You wouldn't be shocked to see snow on the ground of Siberia or Minnesota. I can say that's true. Our first night in Minnesota, it snowed 16 inches. And that was in November. That was in the month of November. Okay, so you wouldn't be surprised to see snow there, traveling to those places in the winter months. But northern areas don't have a monopoly on snowfall. The white stuff has been known to touch down everywhere from the Sahara Desert to Hawaii. Even the driest place on Earth isn't immune. In 2011, the Atacama Desert in Chile received, okay, this is amazing, received nearly 32 inches of snow thanks to a rare cold front from Antarctica. And that was in a desert. So we're pretty lucky.
Yes.
Okay. Now, something about snowflakes. Snowflakes come in all sizes, just like us humans. So they come in all sizes. The average snowflake ranges from a size slightly smaller than a penny to the width of a human hair. I don't know, I guess if it's the width of a human hair, I would not even see it, but that's okay. But according to some unverified sources, they can grow much larger. Witnesses of a snowstorm in Fort Keogh, Montana, in 1887, oh, this can't be true, claimed to see milk pan-sized crystals fall from the sky. If true, that would make them the largest snowflakes ever spotted at around 15 inches wide. Can you imagine being hit by a 15-inch wide snowflake?
Well, I wonder how thick that one was.
Yeah, no kidding.
I wonder how much he had to drink before he saw
So
it.
if any of you ever see a 15-inch wide snowflake, send it to Ripley's Believe It or Not, because then you will have seen the largest snowflake that's ever fallen. How would that even fall? Why wouldn't it? It would just drop. That's amazing. Okay. And now, for a third interesting fact. A little water can add up to a lot of snow. The air doesn't need to be super moist to produce impressive amounts of snow. Unlike plain rainfall, a bank of fluffy snow contains lots of air that adds to its bulk. That's why what would have been an inch of rain in the summer. Okay, I'm going to have you guys tell me. See if you can know. An inch of rain equals how many inches of snow? An inch of rain. Hi, Pat Armstrong. Hi, Aziz. An inch of rain equals how many inches of snow? Dun, dun, da, 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 dun, 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 dun. Put your guesses up here. Dun, 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 dun. I don't think anybody wants to guess.
They don't want to guess. They're trying to pretend it's summer.
Okay, I'm going to give you a little more seconds. An inch of rain produces how many inches of snow? If you're Googling it, I don't care. Pat Armstrong guesses 3. That an inch of rain equals 3 inches of snow. That's very low. Okay, 5 inches. Andrea says 5 inches. Still low. 4.5. Bill Wooten's watching. Hi, Bill. Okay, you guys, here you go. An inch of rain in the summer equals about 10 inches of snow in the colder months. 10 inches! Yeah. Well, Vicky's came up 10 inches, but she must have Googled it. Randy put 13 inches. But those of you that are guessing, now you're going way over. But 10 inches of snow, 1 inch of rain is 10 inches of snow. So all of you that got 10, what can we give them?
Oh.
Marty?
Gosh, what can we give them?
I don't know. A snowball. We'll throw a snowball at you the next time we see you. Great guessing. But 10 inches of snow. Okay. Now, some of you may have heard thunder snow. I think I have. I think there's been times when it, the clouds and you get thunder.
We had thunder snow.
But it only happens when the conditions are just right. Now you'll see that Marty's putting in the half and half. Anything
Yes,
else
already
you've
put it-
added?
I added the third of a cup of flour and a half a teaspoon of cayenne and a half a teaspoon of garlic and some salt and pepper.
Okay, and this was with your butter and onions and
Right,
celery
and celery.
that were getting
And then I'm
tender.
going to,
And
this
so-
is 2 cups of
Half and half.
half and half that I measured out previously. and
Oh,
told you
okay.
what it contained.
That's it already. I'm all ready to eat it just out of that.
Yeah, well, it'd be a little thick here.
That's okay.
And then we're gonna put in the cheeses and melt the,
Lori said Bob knew that 1 inch of rain equaled 10 inches of snow. Okay, here we go. Thunder snow. If you've ever heard the unmistakable rumble of thunder in the middle of a snowstorm, that's not your ears playing tricks on you. It is likely thunder snow, a rare winter weather phenomenon that's most common near lakes. When relatively warm columns of air rise from the ground and form turbulent storm clouds in the sky in the winter, there's potential for thunder snow. A few more factors are still necessary for it to occur, namely air that's warmer than the cloud cover above it and wind that pushes the warm air upwards. Even then, it's entirely possible to miss thunder snow when it happens right over your head. Lightning is harder to see in the winter, and the snow sometimes dampens the thunderous sound. There you go, thunder snow.
ooh,
I think that's a good name for a movie. Thunderball, thunder snow, whatever else we can do. That's fun. Okay, now I'm going to have you make another guess, you guys. Let's see what else is staying here. Are you substituting half and half for the milk?
yes,
Yes,
'cause that's what I had.
because that's what she had.
So I
See,
can add
with
some-
Marty, here's the thing. It's still, the recipes still turn out good, but if she thinks it's similar to what they're calling for, and she's got it handy,
I just substitute.
and of course half and half makes it even richer than the milk. So, but the milk is what the recipe calls for. Okay, Cynthia Kemp says she's sorry about the game.
Yes, that's
Yes.
Randy's cousin from Iowa City.
Okay. Okay. Here it comes. Snow falls at least how fast per second? And your measurement is feet. How fast per second? And it's between, 1 to something. 1 to something feet per second. How fast do you think snow falls? There's a gauge there. All right, I'm going to look for a while. Okay. At least in the case of snowflakes with broad structures which act as parachutes. Okay, I don't know what that means. Snow falls from 1 to something feet per
Yes,
second.
The snowflakes are like little parachutes.
Okay,
coming
at
down.
least in the case of snowflakes with broad structures which act as parachutes. Okay, so I guess that's how many feet if you have a broad structured
Like the 15-inch.
parachutey. Oh, whoops! I'm in the parachutey snowflake. Snow that falls in the form of pellet, like grapple, travels to Earth at a much faster rate than what we're going to say. Because I'm going to tell you now that snow falls, and these are fat flakes that are falling, at anywhere from 1 to 6 feet per second. Per second. And that's not the grapple pellet-like stuff, which falls much faster. So if it falls that fast per second, if it falls 1 to 6 feet per second, if it was...
Okay, now
Go
I'm gonna
ahead.
stir in the broccoli, corn, ham, potatoes, and anything else. And this is a very versatile recipe, and if it turns out, some people when I read reviews said it was just too thin. Well, mine wasn't. But if it is, you can also just add a little more to it and serve it as a chowder.
Okay. Chata.
Chowder.
Boston chata. That's right. All right. So I was trying to think of some kind of mathematical problem. If snow was 40 feet above us and falling at 1 to 6 feet, what did it say? 1 to 6 feet per second. How many seconds would it take to bonk my head?
Oh, probably.
I'm even confused by what it said.
Step in front of the camera. I'm going to have to get a little bit of water to pour into this mixture.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because we don't want to leave it blank.
All right, so now I'm stepping in front of the camera. Hold on. I'm backing up. Hold on.
Yeah.
Okay. We're trying to be as creative as we can without leaving dead space for very long. Okay, here's another fact about snow. Don't take mild conditions in the middle of January as an excuse to leave home without a jacket. Rapid City, South Dakota weather records from January 10th, 1911 show just how fast temperatures can plummet. The day started out at a pleasant 55 degrees Fahrenheit, and over the course of 15 minutes, a wicked cold front brought the temperature down to 8 degrees. 15 minutes, from 55 to 8 degrees. January 10th, 1911, that's the record. This day still holds the record for the quickest cold snap in history. The quickest cold snap in history. Okay, she's back. Oh my goodness, that looks good.
Yes, it needs to be a little thinner. You kind of have to judge that. Since I used half and half, I can just put water in.
Yeah.
And you can always use chicken broth also to
right.
To get it down.
And then when do you put the taters?
As soon as I had enough room to put in.
You need to make more. You need to make more juice. More juice.
Yeah. Otherwise, we wouldn't have any taters in there, and that would not work.
Now here's another fact, and it's very confusing, and I'm sure I learned this in science, but we are closest to the sun during the winter, and yet that's our winter. I guess that's the world's winter. I don't know.
No, because...
Or who are they talking about here? Kansas City? United States?
Australia would be their summertime.
I know, so they must be talking about just the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Every January, the start of winter season in the Northern Hemisphere. They're talking about the Northern Hemisphere.
That answers that, doesn't
The
it?
Earth reaches the point in its orbit that's nearest to the sun. Despite some common misconceptions, the seasonal drop in temperature has nothing to do with the distance of our planet to the sun. Huh. It instead has everything to do with which direction the Earth's axis is tilting, which is why the two hemispheres experience winter at different times of the year. How's that going in there?
That's going.
It's
done.
moving, man.
It's done.
Woo-hoo-hoo.
Now,
It
this
needs
one-
to cool off. Okay. All right. Anybody want to guess? Let's see a lot depends upon the wind. Faye Teague is watching. Okay. Here we go. Somebody guess how many millions of tons of salt are used on U.S. roads each winter? How many millions of tons of salt are used on U.S. roads each winter? And I don't know what the dates of these facts are, but I think they're fairly recent. Okay, any guesses? How many millions of pounds of salt are used, or millions of tons of salt are used on U.S. roads each winter? It's quite astounding, I think. But if you have a guess, throw it up there. Okay. Hi, Linda Newman. I'm so glad to see you're watching. Okay. I'm going to go ahead with, somebody said 50. Jamie says 50 million tons of salt. That's high. And I think that's I think I would have thought that too. But I guess millions of tons are very heavy. That's a loaded question. That was Pat. She said that's a loaded question. That's pretty funny. You're getting Randy's one-liner kind of things. Okay, it's less than 50. And I'm okay. Darlene Jurgensen's watching. Hi, Darlene. Randy says 60 million. Nope. Metric tons. Nope. Lori says, Bob says 100. Okay, I'm going to tell you because it's quite amazing. I didn't think this sounded like enough. It says more than 22 million tons of salt are used on U.S. roads each winter. And maybe we're thinking, because they always tell us, you know, when the salt trucks are going out and how many tons of salt they buy a year. You know, they buy 2 tons or 1 ton. Okay, but it says more than 22 million tons of salt are used on the U.S. roads each winter. And that comes to about 137 pounds of salt per person. 137. Lori was close. Lori said about 20 million, and it's 22.
Well, hey, I think she's a winner.
Oh, somebody asked, could they use spinach salad instead of broccoli?
Yes, you can.
You can?
Yes, I read
Because broccoli's kind of stiff.
Well, no, you can use. It said somebody said they use spinach in there, so.
Okay. Oh, Bill Wooten, you look that up. You have exactly what I have, more than 22 million tons. Either that or you are just the most amazingly smart man. Oh, I keep walking in front with my paper. All right. So just remember that during the winter, they use over 22 million tons, and that's 137 pounds of salt per person. Okay. Where do you think the snowiest city on Earth is? Where do you think the snowiest city on Earth is? On Earth. We're talking about the whole wide world. The snowiest city. What was that? You put the wrong thing in there, didn't you?
I had this flip to the You'll love the parsley on this.
Yeah, that's a lot of parsley.
Oh, well.
Oh.
The green looks really nice in this.
Yes, it
I'll
does.
cover it up with some of the cheddar cheese.
Cheddar cheese.
And
okay.
then after you put the cheddar cheese on, then you would stick it in an oven at 350 degrees for about 30 minutes until it's bubbly and the cheese is all nice
melted
and crispy.
Yummy.
And it makes
I'm getting hungry.
leftovers. And on my leftovers, what I did was...
Oh, there's a siren outside.
Well, that's not inside.
Yeah.
With us cooking, you never know.
It may just be our fans coming.
Oh, yes.
Then they're going to sit in the parking lot and watch us on their iPhones.
Well, we do have visitors every week, but this might be a little cold for them.
Okay. Very
just
good.
Top it with, I measure this so carefully. And knowing how you don't like cheese, I'm not too worried.
Me? I love cheese.
I know, that's why I'm putting plenty on it.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay,
right.
snowiest city on Earth. Who's got well, look at Lori. Lori's right, you all. If you're looking at the comments, it's in Japan. And the name of the city is, but I forgot. Kyle lived there.
Yes.
So maybe Kyle knew all these facts. Okay, the snowiest city on Earth is in Japan. Aomori City in northern Japan receives more snowfall than any major city on the planet. That's amazing. And Jamie had said Siberia, but it is Aomori, Aomori. Each year, citizens are pummeled with, pummeled, and it is pummeled. Each year, it's not like it's something unusual. Each year, they are pummeled with 312 inches of snow, which averages about 26 feet of snow every year.
Hey, look what I have.
Ooh, that looks
I'll
good.
bring it over to the camera.
Bring it over to the camera. Show it off. And tell what that is on top.
I put panko on the top of this one. This is actually leftovers because I wanted to, it makes a lot.
Makes a lot.
We ate 3 meals off of this, and this is what was still left over.
Oh, well, I saw how much that fills that thing, and then you even had a little bowl left over.
Yeah.
Do you want to put that in to cook?
No, because it won't fit in there. You're gonna take it home and eat it.
Oh, I'm gonna cook it at home.
Yeah. So
Okay.
get over
Oh,
here
you
and-
guys, this is so exciting because I am very hungry, and I was thinking, I don't know that I can wait this long. She's turning around the
Yeah.
little camera. Okay.
Okay, let's see.
That
if we
looks
can-
good.
Oh, a miracle.
Except there's a little bit.
Oh,
of
get it. Oh well.
There. Yeah.
Well, we gotta be able to. We gotta be able
But
to
we
show our
gotta see
people.
you.
Well, yeah, just a second. We're not quite there
We're not
yet.
ready.
Oh, we're just. There we go. Did I leave your head in the picture?
I think I see it. Yeah.
Oh, good.
But
You
it looks
never
like
know.
we're looking down, but that's good because we're showing the stuff.
Yeah, we wanted to show the food. Ooh.
Oh my goodness, you guys, exciting. Okay, while she's getting stuff ready, and I don't know, do we have our drinks yet?
No, we don't have our drinks yet.
Okay, I'm going to read some
You read,
more.
and I'll grab the drinks when I.
Okay,
after I
so
finish
I'm going to
making
read
the
some
mess.
more facts. Now, this is interesting because I didn't know this. Oh, okay, Lori writes, we were there in March one year, and they had just opened the Golden Route with the snowbanks 30 feet high.
Oh my gosh.
See, so I'm just trying to make all of us feel better. This isn't many more places are worse than what we're going through right now. Of course, this is extreme cold, I know that. And you have to be careful, so please be careful, everybody. Okay, sometimes snowballs form themselves. Something strange happened earlier this year in northwest Siberia. Mysterious giant snowballs began washing up on a beach along the Gulf of Ob. O-B, don't know that Gulf. It turns out the ice orbs were formed naturally by the rolling motions of wind and water, with some spheres reaching nearly 3 feet in width. You wouldn't want to use this frozen ammunition in a snowball fight. I think I've seen on Nature or Planet or whatever, those big floating things of icy, snowy looking things, those orbs that they call them. Okay. Oh, wow. I'm going to read one more, and then I'm going to eat, and then I'm going to leave it up to you to tell us how you're staying warm. Have you had any trouble with anything? I'm just praying that everybody's pipes and all of that stay clear. Okay, here's the last fact for a moment. Wind chill is calculated using a precise formula. When the weatherman reports a real field temperature of minus 10 degrees outside, it may sound like he's coming up with that number on the spot. Excuse me. But wind chill is actually calculated using a complicated equation devised by meteorologists. For math nerds who'd like to test it at home, the formula reads, I don't know if I even want to go through this. I don't know what all these little things stand for. Wind chill equals 35.74 plus 0.6215 T. I guess, I don't know what that is.
Temperature.
Oh, 6, okay. Minus 35.75, and in parentheses V, and the little hyphen thing going up, 0.16. That might be
I
velocity.
think we should just watch it on the news and they'll tell
Okay,
us.
listen to the wind chills. They're going to get bad. We know that. I don't care how they figure it out. But, you know, I know that the actual temperatures are going to be in the minuses for several days. So just be careful. And after I take a bite and we say a prayer, I'm going to tell you how cities are forced to dispose of snow in creative ways, okay? All right, let's say a prayer.
All right.
All gracious and loving God, we thank you for our visitors today who are finding out how to make this wonderful recipe. Thank you again for Marty and all her hard work as she comes up with these yummy dishes. We ask that you continue to watch over us, and we are asking for safety for all those who do not have warm homes or places to stay. And we thank you that they now are using arenas for homeless shelters, so more and more can come inside. we ask that you continue to guide us and bring us down that path of safety as we continue to find, hopefully, our way to get a vaccine for the COVID virus. And we ask that as we begin to start our Lenten journey, that you have our eyes opened and our hearts opened to new understandings of who we are and our relationship with God. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Okay. Oh, I know what else I'd like to find out. What is there anything special you guys ever do for Valentine's Day? I think Terry and I have been married too long. I don't do anything special for Valentine's. Well, you cook. You'll probably cook on Valentine's Day.
Well, undoubtedly. Yeah.
That's very good. I mean, you talk about a nice, warm, tummy-warming recipe. It's great.
Yeah, and it doesn't
Now, I don't have any broccoli in mine.
Well, because these were leftovers. I didn't put broccoli in the first one I made.
So I can't tell you how it tastes with broccoli because there is none in mine. But you know, I mean, the corn tastes okay, but I think I could eat this without even the corn in it. I think
You need the corn
You
for
do?
a little bit of sweetness.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Randy says it's a great meal. What do you get when you cross a snowman with a vampire? Don't look up. Try to guess. All our people have seen it.
Oh, I have.
What do you think? Snowman with a vampire.
You got a problem?
I'm biting. What kind of bite is there in the winter?
Frigid.
Frostbite.
Oh, frostbite. Well, you know, some people are just a little slow.
Frostbite. Yes. You didn't get my acting?
If that's what it was, no.
And you all, I'm going to just warn you a little bit ahead. We are intending to come in and with the worship team and do the service on Sunday. If there's any danger as far as snow on the ground or the streets are not good, we will not do that on Sunday, but you will still, I will do Facebook Live from my home and bring the message. But I can't promise you that I'll sing the hymns because I don't have anybody to play. I've got a piano, but
Did you play? I mean, you were
Do you
playing
think-
today and
I
singing.
know.
I heard you. I was in here and I heard you playing and singing.
well, I wanted to check out a hymn.
Well, it was sounding
But-
okay. You need to speed up your piano playing though. It was a little slow. It wasn't quite to the tune of that music.
Oh, this is what I get all the time. Also, as of now, it's still the plan, I understand, to give out the bags on Saturday and next Monday. And you will get a bag with a schedule in it and goodies and another little gift. And then each family will get a devotional booklet. Now, if we have enough, you know, if you want 2 devotional booklets for each adult in the household, you can go ahead and have those. But these are just the devotional booklets are for our members. The bags, you can get an extra bag and take to a friend or family member because it'll have our schedule inside there of everything that we're going to be doing over this Lenten Easter season. And it's on a card. It looks great. So I think it's going to be very helpful. And then it even has on there how people can, you know, get on Bethel's Facebook so they can watch it on Facebook or on YouTube. Okay, let's see. If a parsley farmer is sued, will they garnish his wages?
Maybe.
So you and Randy ate 3 meals on this, because it does make a biggie. No, it really is tasty. Okay, I've got some more things. Cities are forced to dispose of snow in creative ways. And after living in Minneapolis, I saw their creative ways of disposing of the snow, and I'll talk about that in a minute. When snow piles up too high for cities to manage, it usually is hauled away to parking lots or other wide open spaces where it can sit until the weather warms up. During particularly snowy seasons, cities are sometimes forced to dump snow in the ocean, only to be met with criticism from environmental activists. Some cities employ snow melters that use hot water to melt 30 to 50 tons of snow an hour. Now, then where does the water go? This method is quick but costly. A single machine can cost $200,000 and burn 60 gallons of fuel in an hour. I'll tell you what, in Minnesota, like I said, our first night there, it snowed 16 inches, and we were living in a home where the people had gone south for the winter, and it was close to the seminary. And so you are told that you must immediately put your snow on either side of your driveway, okay? Because you can't throw it out into the street. But you keep doing that until, and that winter, our snow got 8 feet high on either side after shoveling it. Then, if it gets so high, then at the front, you can dig out and put some of that in the streets. And then they would come by, the snow plows would come by, and then they would come by with these huge bulldozers and put the snow in the back of dump trucks, and they would dump it in the river. They dumped all that snow in the river. And they did have feedback from environmental people, because that snow had salt and ugly things in it. But, okay, Cynthia Kemp says, I'm going to fix a variation of this for my family tonight. It looks so good. It is good. Okay, and we all know this. Wet snow is best for snowman building, according to science. Physics confirms what you've likely known since childhood. Snow on the wet side or moist side is best for building your own backyard frosty. One scientist pegs the perfect snow to water ratio at 5 to 1. There you go. Now this I didn't know, because you know how you were always told all snowflakes are unique. But this says snowflakes aren't always unique, like us human beings are. Snow crystals usually form unique patterns, but there's at least one instance of identical snowflakes in the record books. Now, how would you even catch identical snowflakes? Well, you look like this one. In 1988, 2 snowflakes collected from a Wisconsin storm were confirmed to be twins. They were confirmed to be twins at an atmospheric research center in Colorado. Okay, how did 2 snowflakes from Wisconsin drive to Colorado to be confirmed?
Well, did they go to church?
I don't. I mean, to be confirmed that they were 2 identical snowflakes. I find this fact suspicious, but who knows? So this was just one of the little things they put in here. Snowflakes aren't always unique. And then, I tell you, what we've had problems with here is that freezing mist and freezing rain. That's terrible. Freezing rain and sleet can both have scary effects on driving conditions, but their formations differ in some key ways. Both types of precipitation occur when rain formed in warm air in the sky passes through a layer of cold air near the ground. Thicker layers of cold air create sleet.
a slushy form of water that's semi-frozen by the time it reaches the earth. Thinner layers don't give rain enough time to freeze until it hits the surface, and it then forms a thin coat of ice where it lands. I'll tell you what, Terry and I were leaving my sister Vicky's house after the Super Bowl game, and of course it was late. It was about 9:30 when we hopped in the cars to leave, and they live in down Lee Summit. And we're driving, and of course Terry had warmed up the car and turned on.
You tell them what happened first before you ever left?
Well, we actually didn't see it till we were on the road, but I guess we were thinking that. So Terry had warmed up the car, turned on the windshield defroster inside on high. Car was warm when we got in, but it was of course it had been parked outside, and it was extremely cold outside. So as we're going down 470, people are pulling off the roads because this mist is just covering their windshields. Now our windshield was warm because it had been running for a while. We have warmers on the wipers or something like that. But we looked as we were going down the road, and headlights were hitting our windshield. We had a crack across the whole bottom of our windshield that they think happened because that hot, warm air was hitting the windshield. There must have been an imperfection along there. So Terry had taken it today. In fact, I just talked to Terry, and he said that the windshield place is packed. So I don't know if this has happened to other people along the way, that their windshields have gotten so cold, and then they hit that warm air and it cracks.
Yeah, after you told me that, I told Randy, and so he took my car yesterday for the errands. He said, "Oh, I won't start the truck up then."
Mm-hmm. So anyway, just be careful. This time of year is always when we have the freezing rain and the ice and all that. So that's what you want to be careful with. What do we got? Oh, we got some time. I wanted to read something from Holy Adventure.
You know, do you want me to start counting the number of times you do that? Or, I mean, I could keep a score, from week to week, and we can have people vote for the total number of times.
I'm beginning to think it's because it's because I'm eating and I have other stuff to read, and I just forget there's food in my mouth, and
Well,
I
you
just
do it all the time. You
see.
can
I'm
walk
just
around.
glad my mom's not here, because that would not be a pretty sight if I was talking with food in my mouth. That's why I'm always so conscious of it, but then I still do it. So, what can I say? Okay, I'm going to take one more bite because it's really good, and then I'm going to read you something from our Lenten series that we're going to be doing. I'll be introducing it on Ash Wednesday, and then for the Wednesdays that follow, we will be doing this amazing study called Holy Adventure.
And the silence was wonderful.
Okay, my mouth's empty. I'm not going to open it up and show you
Your mouth?
my empty mouth. Okay, you all. We are doing this wonderful book called Holy Adventure. I know it's is it backwards for them, or is it okay?
It should be okay.
And it's by Bruce Epperly, and it's 6 sessions on how we have a holy adventure during this Lenten season. And I wanted to read the part that tells us creativity is so important in all this. And I know so many of you out there, and I know I bet all of you are creative in so many ways. But it also struck me in this first week of this study that we are all part of God's holy adventure, is what it says. We are all part of God's holy adventure. And then they quote Esther, the book of Esther, Esther 4 verse 14, and it's a wonderful verse. And I oftentimes have to remind myself that when things are really challenging, who knows? Perhaps you have come for just such a time as this. The whole universe, from an infant smile to the Milky Way, reflects the subtle and constant creativity of God.
God gives us space to create, even as God creates within us and alongside us. John Calvin once spoke of the world as the theater of God's glory. I love that term. The theater of God's glory. Divine glory, the flowing forth of God's creative love to bring beauty to life, is both serious and playful business. In every moment, God seeks in a unique and personal way to bring forth beauty, wonder, and wholeness out of the many factors that constitute your experience and the ongoing planetary adventure. Your life has a place in God's vision of the universe. Within each moment of your life is a dream that arises from the interplay of many factors, including your previous decisions, family of origin, environment, culture. Within each of these influences, God is at work to give you a vision of what this moment can most fully be. God has many dreams for your life, and each dream is lived out one moment at a time. Traditional religious language speaks of discovering your vocation or your calling as a primary goal of life. And your vocation is not only about your own self-actualization, but also about your contribution to the universe, the planet, and your family. It's about living God's dream in your own wonderful, unique way. You know, kind of like those snowflakes, living out in our own unique way. Let's see. I do affirm that God works in every moment to inspire our own creativity as a means of bringing joy and beauty to ourselves and to the universe. Your life is your gift to God, and your gifts arise from the intricate interplay of your passions, talents, dreams, and experiences with the world's needs. Bruce Epperly goes on to say, our lives are not fully determined by God, our genes, family of origin, environment, or any other single factor, but they emerge from a world of multiple synchronous relationships. Every moment is the right moment for personal transformation. In every moment, God weaves together persons and possibilities in order to create a world of meaning and beauty. The spiritual adventure is a process of noticing God's many revelations within every encounter of life. And then he talks about Jacob. Like Jacob, we're called to pause and reflect on the angelic presence in even the most desolate spots. And you know, this is when he wrestled, or when there was a pillar and he laid his head on the stone and he saw angels walking up and down the stair steps. Like Moses, we are challenged to stop before the constantly burning bush that we fail to notice in our purpose-driven ways. The Hebraic tradition celebrates Esther, who I quoted at the beginning, the book of Esther. The Hebraic tradition celebrates Esther for her role in saving her people. A member of the king's court, Esther kept a low profile until she was called to be the first lady of the empire. When she heard of the plot to destroy her people, she initially kept quiet, masking her own ethnicity. And then she sprang into action and saved her people when her spiritual guide, Mordecai, challenged her with the insight that God had brought to her to this place of power for just such a time as this. Esther is remembered today because she paused long enough to listen for God's voice in Mordecai's mentoring, and then had the courage to take a chance that the God who inspired her would also guide and protect her. So if you haven't read Esther, it's a great book. You can do it on this cold afternoon, snuggle up, get a cup of tea, stick the casserole in the oven, and read Esther. It's a wonderful, wonderful book in our scripture. In moments of divine wisdom, human choice, and creativity, your life is unfolding for just such a time as this. In each moment, you are given many good options to shape your life and the planet. Pause for a moment. Listen to your life. Can you experience the dream God has for you and the unique creativity that you bring to this moment? So that's just a smattering of what we're going to be talking about as we talk about our own holy adventures during this Lenten season. So I was lucky enough to attend a seminar for pastors where Bruce Epperly came and introduced his book back in 2009. And it's a beautiful way to know that each day is an adventure and how we live that out. So what do you think?
Wow,
Are you ready for an adventure?
you know, I feel like this whole past year has been
Been-
quite an adventure.
Yes, it has.
It's been a holy adventure.
Uh-huh.
I mean, think about all the things we've done for Bethel that we would have never, ever. Would we have ever done a cooking show if there had been a pandemic?
I don't think so. In fact,
No.
I'm still wondering how it all turned out to this. I think we started, it was going to be a discussion at a little
Well,
chat show.
Yeah.
And
you
then we thought,
And you thought first about a Bible study.
Mhm.
Well, then you're still doing that now.
yeah, now I'm doing that.
on
And that's
Wednesday.
fun. That's on Wednesdays at 3.
I've
But-
heard that it's quite entertaining.
It is. We have a good time, and you are all invited to join us. Get a hold of Shirley Minden, and she'll put you on the list. However, our last Wednesday for our Bible study will be next Wednesday, because then we start Ash Wednesday, and the Bible
Isn't-
study is being replaced with.
Isn't
This.
Ash Wednesday next Wednesday?
Yeah, I said our Bible study. That's the last. We're still going to have that during the day
Oh, but
on Ash Wednesday because I needed it because there were 6 different weeks in here.
I thought you were talking about your Bible study one.
It's not going to be a Bible study anymore. It will be. Bible study stops
Okay.
at our 3 o'clock time on Ash Wednesday day,
Okay.
and then the
Because-
next 6 weeks will be this study, and that takes the place of the Bible study, but it'll still be at 3 o'clock.
I was only
Wednesdays.
thinking about our Plan B for next Wednesday.
I don't think that is
You don't
any
think?
problem.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
I think your phone just answered itself. I hear people talking in your office.
Yeah, well, they'll have to talk without me. But anyway, how long? What have we got here? Oh my goodness!
You just read all those facts and everything.
I read all those facts in the story, but I'm telling you, it is so important for us to realize God created us as creative creatures. And there are, believe me, there are some much more creative
Yeah.
than,
And we just
than
have
others.
to look on
But each of
Facebook.
us has a unique creative gift. And our job is to find what that is and how we use it to make the world a better place.
It just dawned on me what that voices are. I'm running my neighborhood book club in the office.
I was going to say.
that's them talking. Okay. You know, nothing like multitasking and forget you're doing it.
I know. But you all, I hope you enjoy the casserole. It's great. Those of you that are fixing
And-
it today or have
And
fixed it.
you can adjust it to anything. I think Holly Weger was going to use turkey ham.
Yeah, you can
and
use any kind of meat in it.
Yeah, I mean, and then you can do other vegetables. I mean, it's pretty flexible actually. And if
Mhm.
you make it really, you can make it into a chata. You can just do anything you want.
You can make it thinner and it'll be a chowder, or make it thicker and you wouldn't be able to eat it.
No, it'll be like concrete.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've got to tell you, those scotcheroos,
Yeah.
they are hard, but I love them. I
Oh,
would
yeah.
have a scotcheroo over a candy bar.
Oh yeah, they're just like, and you know, they're somewhat healthy because it's got Rice Krispies in it.
Okay, thank you. I can use that.
Yeah.
But they are, if you didn't see last week's show, Marty made scotcheroos, and was that last week's or 2 weeks ago? When I did the chicken wings. What did we do last week?
I think we did chicken wings.
Did we?
I think so.
That's right, because
think
it
so.
was our tailgate.
Yes, we tailgated.
We tailgated.
We obviously didn't tailgate good enough because we didn't.
That's
bring a win.
okay.
That's-
Anyway,
Well, you know, I look at it this way. Old Tom Brady's getting so old, he needed to win this one because he might be getting too old to
you
win
think
anymore.
he's on his way out? I tell you
I
what,
don't
though,
think so. But I'm hoping
he's
that
something.
But you know, I looked up in Tom Brady, when after he won his first Super Bowl, he didn't win the next one the next
No.
year, it was the next year. So it's okay, you know. that-
Well, I heard that he won 2-3, 2-4, what back to back. That's the only time he got the back to back was 2003, 2004, and it was Brady.
Yeah. But
Then
he-
after that,
But when he was 24, he won the Super Bowl, and when he was 26, he didn't win it when he was 25.
yeah.
So,
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
so
Well,
you just never know.
You just never know. But I tell you what, I just always appreciate the football season because it's just that time that you can watch the games, and especially if you're a fan of a winning team,
Yeah.
you're lucky
Yeah.
that you can watch every Sunday and see these amazing plays. But it's been a wonderful diversion. And I know for a while, it takes me a while to get used to not watching football.
Oh, I just put
On
in a
Sundays.
DVD of past games that I bought the DVDs for, and we can watch them year round.
Well, I'd probably start cheering again, thinking the
I
outcome
do.
would be different
Well,
if it was a losing outcome.
I see. I only play the Super Bowl ones from last year. I play the entire season. You know, it's
Well, you all, it has been fun again. You guys are great, and I just think that this adventure that we're all going to share together for the next after Ash Wednesday, for the next several Wednesdays at 3:00, you can get it on YouTube. Or how do we do that? Do they just come on Facebook Live? That's right.
Well, they're not going to be live because I'm going to pre-record them, but I will post them there, and it will link to our to our YouTube
Okay.
channel.
So we're going to pre-record Holy Adventure.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we'll
Yeah.
pre-record it that way. We can.
That's right.
You know,
That's
we
right.
got to keep our stories straight.
We do have to keep our stories straight.
It gets
There's
harder
so
every
many
year.
stories in the
Yeah.
windy, snowy city. All right, you guys, we're gonna do our kazooing you out. Stay safe, and just know how cold it is outside. Don't run out in your pajamas and have the wind blow your door shut behind you and lock. That would not be a good thing.
No, not a good thing at all.
Right.
Okay,
Okay, here we go. Kazooing you out.
that's what you think.
Oh, chat, cook, and pray. Oh, chat, cook, and pray. Oh, chat, cook, and pray. Oh, chat, cook, pray. Amen. Woo! We have so much fun. Are they still talking? Bye, you all.